We have seen sports, batteries, defense, innovation and creativity at its finest. The next one takes it to another level. We have in front of us a real opportunity to see solar power in a whole new form. How many people have maybe solar at your house? Or you've seen solar panels throughout our community? This takes what we all know solar power to be to the next level. It's compact. We know solar power is usually huge. It's portable, and they even say it's ready to roll. So I'm excited to be able to welcome Dean, who is the CEO of APT Solar Solutions, to show us the future of solar power that's portable and ready to roll. Dean.
Thank you.
Let's give it up.
So my name is Dean Strack. I'm the CEO of APT Solar Solutions, and I'm here today to take a step back relative to something that we all take advantage of, and that is electricity every single day. We always just count on it's going to be there, and look at the trends that are happening in electricity and power generation in this country, and then look at some of the challenges that we have and how our technology can help to resolve those challenges that we face. So today, we're going to cover the energy challenges in front of us and supply gaps, grid strain and sustainability goals, renewable goals, solar strengths and weaknesses, how we're contributing, how we're different, and the future of solar. So let's jump in. So traditional solar, or traditional supply of energy is certainly changing. Coal is going offline. Natural gas-fired turbines are sold out through 2030, and they're getting more and more expensive. Nuclear, it's 10, 15-year wait to get that online. And a recent project in Alabama went $30 billion over budget. And certainly there are grid barriers. You want to get connected to the grid, it could be 4 to 5 year wait to get connected. So let's take a look at a couple of trends real quickly. The first trend we'll look at is US energy generation from 2010 to 2015. And the blue line is that energy generation. You see it fluctuates some, but between 2013 and 2023, it grew at 0.3%. Very modest growth. 2025, we're looking at 2.5% growth right now. Next year, we're looking at 3 to 3.5% growth. What's driving that? Data centers, EVs. So there is this massive increase in energy need for us. If we look back at the last 75 years, you'll see that that blue line rose about 4% through that steady slope period, and then it flattened out quite a bit. It's about to take another rise. And real quickly, the green line is renewables contribution. Does anyone know why it was so high in the 50s? Audience question? Anyone have a guess? Hydroelectric, that's exactly right. It was a huge part of our energy source back in the day, and that's no longer, just doesn't cut it anymore for what our needs are. Now looking ahead, if we look ahead in the next 25 years, you'll see that energy is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. If you look at the projections, take a look at what is the predominant growing source of energy compared to everything else on that graph. The bright yellow is solar. Solar is, and I talk to DTE, I talk to Consumer Energy, you talk to these folks at conferences, they say solar is the thing that they're counting on to be a very big contributor to our growing energy needs. How about outages and the grid? Well, overload risk, Michigan runs at about 90% capacity, and there's certainly some elbow room there, but as the needs accelerate, we're going to need to bring more online faster and faster. And as I mentioned, some of those earlier options of nuclear can be great, it can be clean, it's dangerous, but certainly you can't bring that on very quickly. It is, our grid, it requires in Michigan alone $1 to $2 billion of upgrades to get us ready for all of those upcoming needs. and rising prices. I don't know if you've noticed your electricity bill, but it's going up. And good we don't live in Ohio for many reasons, football being one of them. But in Ohio, June 4th, they saw a 30% increase in their electric bill. Overnight, 30% across the board. So electricity has doubled the rate of inflation, and inflation isn't low. So it's getting more expensive for us to consume the electricity that we need for our day-to-day lives. And Ann Arbor, just for the record, the residential level is at 2.5% growth in 2025. So it's up there with the national averages. How about the initiatives that are going on in the country? There's a lot of green initiatives, a lot of renewable initiatives. Some of the initiatives that are very successful are Illinois, and we'll cover that in a little more detail. But Illinois and Michigan want to be at 100% clean by 2040, 2050. And you don't get there unless you start now. The US is targeting 80% renewables by 2030. And Illinois in the city is 100% clean already, which is amazing. This year, they achieved that goal. So they've been at it in the city of Chicago, they've been at it for some time now. And Michigan and Ann Arbor, carbon-free by 2040. This is another look at, again, the role in renewables that solar is going to play compared to wind. Solar is the yellow. These are projections, of course. Solar is the yellow, wind is the blue, nuclear is green, and then we have other. But as you see, solar is 50 to 60% of the projected renewable source. Now, let's get down to some constraints with that. We can skip those, I covered that. Let's get down to some of the constraints. So solar is great, but one of the issues with, well, actually, let's cover this first. So that chart shows that in the last 10 years, the cost of generating solar electricity has dropped 80%. It's now cheaper to produce solar electricity than it is to use fossil fuels. The other line there is fossil fuels. So solar is now cheaper than fossil fuels, which a lot of people are unaware of. And it's the fastest to deploy. Now, let's look at one of the constraints that we have with solar, and that's land. And I'm going to just I'll say a couple facts and then explain what that chart is. It's Metro Detroit. So solar requires 5 to 10 acres to produce 5 to 10 acres per megawatt. And if you want to achieve our national goals in 2025, you need to basically have about 54 to 100,000 acres of land. That's a lot of land. And where do you need solar? Where do you need the power? You need it close to where people are, close to where cities are, close to where factories are. But where are you going to put that land? As a frame of reference, 100 acres, 100,000 acres is about 156 square miles. So that means that 80 to 90% of the Metro Detroit footprint needs to be covered in solar panels for us to achieve 1/4's growth, 1/4 objective at a national level. That's 1/4. What about the next quarter and the next quarter? Where are all these solar panels going to go? There's just not enough room for them. And you have shading in cities and a whole bunch of issues like that. And I'd be remiss to not say that batteries are an enormously important component to solar. Solar without batteries is really a non-starter because it collects energy during the day, stores it, and then you can use it when you need it. So batteries are a very important piece, and I just wanted to mention that. So what are we doing at APT Solar Solutions? We have created a patented novel technology that moves solar to a vertical footprint capture. So we have solar panels that are vertically spaced that allow us to collect omnidirectional light for any direction, doesn't need to face south. We're enclosed in a transparent tube, so maintenance is significantly lower. And that gives you the capacity to then generate solar for, this is a light, this is a camera, it has a camera in the module. So you basically have a unit that can generate electricity and store electricity and be applied to any number of different use cases that we'll cover now. Ann Arbor, actually, and Southfield have already adopted this very product, and we have these deployed at a pilot level. So Southfield, just north of the lodge, these are deployed along a pathway. And there's a quick, this is actually Southfield right here that you can take a look at. Another thing that is very interesting about deploying solar renewable energy is that the cost to trench to put the electricity under the ground, the permitting time, I spoke to Dan Slusser, who is the chief of mobility innovation in Detroit. He said what's really slowing down innovation at a sensor level in Metro Detroit is getting online. It could be $5,000 per grid connect in a city, but that's an issue. But the other issue is permitting. It's 6 months minimum to get permits to be able to connect into the grid. With our solution, you can deploy our solution and skip the grid connect cost and skip all of that permitting wait time. So our product line, we have the lighting in different configurations that you see here. We have IoT power module, which is larger, allowing you to put sensors like cameras, smog detection, traffic detection, pedestrian detection around cities to allow us to make smarter cities. And then we have our larger product, which is our solar towers. And if you don't have enough power from one of our units, you can put them in a line and make a solar fence, or you can put them in an array and make a solar forest, taking up 80% less of the land space that traditional solar deploys in. So how do we compete against solar? Well, how about land efficiency? Certainly check. How about power density? We're 12 to 20 times higher in power density than traditional solar. Check. Aesthetics and urban fit. These look significantly nicer than seeing solar panels all over creation. Tamper resistant means less maintenance, less dust. All-in-one integration. You buy a solar panel, you need to buy an inverter, you need to buy a battery, you need to wire all those things together. Our systems are self-contained, all in one. And patent protection. University of Michigan owns 9 patents that are both domestic and internationally filed. No one can make vertical solar but APT Solar Solutions. So why is APT great? 1, we're proven. 2, we're protected. 3, we're scalable. And 4, we believe we're unstoppable. So we're starting with lights because they're small. They allow us to get an understanding of the market and the product development. From there, we'll move to the IoT product line, then to solar fences, and eventually to the large-scale solar production in solar forests. So some early validation. So we have 100 of these units deployed around Michigan. Southfield and Ann Arbor were 2 of the early adopters. Southfield met with them 2 weeks ago. They want more of these. They talked about doing, connected to other cities, a 25-mile track. At the IoT power module, we've built the MVP with the camera in it here, and we're looking for pilot customers now. And then the solar towers, I called up some solar contractors who, I don't know if you know how it works, but if you look to deploy a solar farm, you basically have to ROI it. You have to have enough surface area to justify the cost. And many of their projects get to 80%, 70, 90%, but there's not enough space for them to ROI the project and get a green light to go forward. They're very excited. They said, how many can we get when? Because they can line the perimeter of that solar farm with our towers and get the project green lighted. So Dr. Mustafa Tavantafti is the founder and inventor of this tech. I'm here, and then Steve Anier is also one of the supporters of the tech. And interesting thing about Steve, a month ago, he climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. That's a feat in and of itself, but I'll tell you why it's special. He did it on one leg, all the way up to Mount Kilimanjaro. So we see us redefining the vision. Our vision is to redefine the solar and to address this issue that there's just not going to be enough land for solar to do all it is capable of doing. So here is a couple of other images. These are renderings of how we see the future for e-bike charging, smart cities, and again, going down corridors, the land's already there. Why don't we put solar towers right down our roadways and collect solar in that way? And that is my talk, and I very much appreciate your interest. Thank you.